we go. Welcome to the Daybreak Star Radio Network. Our motto, as you can see behind Mr. SlinCraze's, indigenize the airways. Super excited to have an opportunity to chat with you here today. We come to you from Seattle. You're from Norway. That's pretty cool. Off the line, you were talking about how many hours behind you are in the flight, and so glad to have you out here in Seattle today and for your upcoming performance tonight.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Absolutely, Ronnie.
Well, let's get right into it. The first thing, tell us about you. Who is SlinCraze? Tell us more about you.
I'm a Sámi rapper from northern Norway. Been doing music for like 15 years now, maybe, almost. Mainly, I rap in northern Sámi, but I also do stuff in English and Norwegian as well. So, yeah, that's a bit about me. I'm 32 years old, father of two. Yeah.
What influenced you to go into music? What was that? Initial introduction that said, this is the platform that I want to surround my awareness with.
So when I was younger, I got bullied a lot in school, and I was pretty much like the biggest outsider in my school. And I started to, at first, when it was at the worst, I started listening to hip hop, and of course, mainly it was Eminem, because he was huge in Norway, and D12, all of his camp, and I could relate to so much that he was saying in his lyrics about like building a character to kind of like as a defense mechanism. And I think that's what inspired me to get into music. And I started to write lyrics in English first, and mainly, it was very, very, very inspired by Eminem. So it was kind of the lyrics and such. But then I started to try to write in my own language about more serious matters and stuff like that. And that's what inspired me to start hip hop. And I remember my first ever live performance. It was a song about bullying, where I told my story and all that, and it was really fun and interesting to see that people of all ages, like I had old ladies that were like 70 years old come up to me and be like, "Yeah, this was awesome. I could relate," and I think that's what made me really want to keep doing it.
So, as you said, you usually try to rap in Sámi, in your language. For people that don't know, can you tell us a little bit about the Sámi people? Because I know that not a lot of people are aware of you guys, and you guys have a long, rich history. So, just maybe you could give us a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, the Sámi people are the indigenous people of Scandinavia, basically, and parts of Russia. We're spread out over 4 countries, so that's Russia, Sweden, Finland, and Norway. We're the indigenous people there. There's several Sámi languages. So you have, I think, 10 different Sámi languages. I think that's a pretty good introductory way to say it. And if people are interested to read more about it, Google is your friend. There's so much information out there right now about Sámi people. So yeah,
definitely. And everyone that's listening, I definitely recommend you guys go check it out. It's a very rich culture. It has a very diverse history, and like me, they're not very different from Native Americans in a sense. So.
No, I mean, it's funny, when you talk to indigenous peoples all over the world, we have very much similar stories, and of course, the thing with Sámi people is I always like to say we are probably the most privileged indigenous people in the world, because we have our own parliament that has, at least in Norway, that has a lot of a say in the politics that goes on, and can veto stuff and like that. And when you talk to people around the world, you see a lot of similarities when it comes to assimilation, colonization, and all that kind of stuff. And it's very interesting. But at the same time, us Sami people, we were never like warrior people or stuff. So we never experienced like that. That is the thing I find is the biggest difference, when it comes to like genocide and stuff like that. We never really experienced it in that sense that, like Native Americans or the Aboriginal people in Australia, that we were basically, or you guys were basically had it a lot worse than us in that sense. But we can find a lot of similarities when it comes to especially the assimilation politics and racial issues. Yeah.
Sami deal with a lot of racism, don't they? I mean, even to this day, you guys are really.
Yeah, the Sami people, we do go through a lot of racism day to day, so especially if we speak up, we get a lot of hate, which I kind of find funny with Norwegians and Swedes. And like it's a very hypocritical society. Like if you would say something racial against someone of color or a Muslim, then you would get like immediately shut down and you are a racist, you need to stop this. But if you make fun of Sami people, for instance, and if we then say that's not okay, then we are told like, no, you should just take it. It's completely fine. You are just being too sensitive. So I think that's a bit of a hypocritical way of thinking.
Institutionalized racism that is part of the institution. Weird. That's unfortunate.
If we can chat now about what goes into making a song for you. I mean, do you start with the beat, lyrical hook, or you could just give us a rundown of the overall process from?
Making a song for me is it's quite varied actually. Sometimes when I am like reading some news article or something, and it makes me feel something, like if I'm angry or if I'm happy for that or whatever, then that kind of inspires me to write a lyric first. While sometimes you are in the studio, you are in the headspace of you want to make a song, and then it usually starts with me and my whoever is the producer at the moment, that we just jam around, try to find something cool, and it starts like that. So it's very varied. Sometimes it starts with the lyric first and then the beat comes afterwards, and sometimes it's the beat is already made and then I write something to it, or sometimes it's really just that we make everything while we're at the studio. So it's very varied. Yeah.
Thank you.
So when it comes to making your music, I'm curious how important it is to make sure that you weave your Sami culture into it. Is it one of the first processes when you're going, or you just go on the song and then you're like,
the thing about writing in a language that not many people understand and speak, and I usually work with non-Sami producers, so they don't really understand what I'm talking about. So the first thing I usually do is, when I'm working with a non-Sami producer, is that I go through the lyrics or the thought of what we're going to be making, and explain them, like, okay, so this song is about this, and then I try to explain the meaning and all that, and then we try to make the music reflect that emotion. And I think that's a good way to do it, because then you can, because it is a handicap to make a song in a language that, not many people speak. So then I think it's very important that the music speaks for itself, and then you just add the lyrics to kind of like an extra spice there.
Awesome. Great explanation. Where would you like to see, yourself and your music career in 10 years?
At the moment, I'm actually kind of semi-retired, I would say.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't really do a lot of concerts or stuff like that anymore. I play maybe 3 or 4 concerts a year now. And that's because I'm a father of 2 children, young children. So my daughter is 4 years old. My son is a bit over a year. And I have a day job now. So it's, yeah, I don't know. In 10 years, you never know. Sometimes you get that itch and that inspiration to make a new project and to go at it again. And then, but it's like I've always told myself that, sometimes you can get into that feeling that you have failed as an artist when you're not doing music anymore, like regularly, and you're not touring anymore. And yeah, but I always remind myself that I have achieved a lot in my career, considering that I rap or make music in a language that is a pretty obscure language in the world. It's, I think, about 40 or 50,000 people that understand that language. And out of those 40 or 50,000 people, maybe like a few thousand listen to your music. So I think I've achieved a lot. I've been all around the world. Now I'm in Seattle. I've met many great people. I've experienced a lot of good shows and highs and lows. So in 10 years, I'd probably be happy at the same rate I'm going now, really. I find it really fun to be able to travel sometimes and just go to places you've never been, like Seattle now. I've never been in Seattle, so it's interesting and it's fun to travel sometimes. So I think I'd be really happy to be maintaining where I'm at right now. Yeah.
I'm going to ask real quick before we get to the next question. How did the day job react when you said, I need a couple of days off? I got to go to Seattle. And
no, my employer knew this, like when I got hired for full time, because first I was just working part time. And then they offered me a full-time position, and I told them, like, yeah, there might be some weekends or some periods I might travel some for music, and I have an awesome boss, and he's like, yeah, that's fine, that's no problem. And so whenever I tell him that this weekend I'm going to travel, or now I'm going there, and then yeah, that's fine. Yeah, no
teach
problem.
Your boss how to be a DJ, and then next time you come to Seattle, he can DJ for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and he gets a vacation too.
Yeah,
yeah.
So we have to ask. I'm sure you've probably been asked this before, but we've never asked you. I gotta know how did you come up with the name SlinCraze? What's the meaning behind that?
Well, first it was SlinCrazy after Slim Shady, because I was a huge fan. And Slin is basically just my first name reversed, which is Nils. And then I turned it into craze, more of like, when you have a craze for something. So that's basically where that comes from. Yeah.
Easy, simple, nice.
Yeah, I think we know the answer to the next question. If you could collaborate with any artist, who would it be and why? I'm guessing it's
I'm gonna guess that too.
No, I mean, to be honest, after, when you are an Eminem fan and you hear him collaborating with whoever, he always kills the track. So I don't think I would have wanted to be in a track with them, just because, my verse would be nothing compared to his. So if I could collaborate with any artist living, alive or dead, I'd probably say Johnny Cash, actually.
Really?
I'm a big fan of Johnny Cash, and I think
legend.
Yeah, so I would probably choose him if I could ever get the chance to do.
I wanted to guess that.
Yeah, not a lot of people, a lot of people think that I only listen to hip hop, but I do like old music. In my head, there's only 2 genres, and that's bad music and good music. So if it's an opera piece that is made well and done well, I would love that. And And yeah, Johnny Cash, just his music, I think, is timeless. And yeah, so I think a lot of, the older artists have timeless musics, and there's a reason that they're legends, So Johnny Cash, there's a reason their music is still played today. It's because it's timeless and it works no matter what decade you're in. Yeah.
I appreciate what you just said. There is, that's something I always truly believe. There are only two genres of music: good music and bad music. I appreciate that. I gotta know: are we gonna see any new music come from you soon, or at some point?
Yeah, I'm of course always working with making music, and I have some plans for a few new tracks. Might release a new album hopefully soon. But there's like nothing that I never set deadlines, because I figured I had a deadline for my first album that I made, and I was not happy with it at all, because I felt, the pressure there. So I never set deadlines for any of my projects, and I just like to, pick them up whenever I feel ready to keep at it. And if I feel like it's not good enough, I put it away and let it simmer a bit, and then try to pick it up again when I feel I might be able to add something to it or do something better. And so I never set deadlines, but hopefully I'll have a few tracks coming out this year at least. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we're looking forward to supporting. In radio, we do something called world premieres. So, maybe there'll be an opportunity to do a world premiere here on the Daybreak Star Radio Network for SlinCraze.
Yeah, definitely. That would be awesome.
You can call us from Norway. What advice would you give an up-and-coming artist that, is trying to get their foot in the door, trying to release a song, trying to get a song on the radio?
Persistence, really. I mean, music nowadays, and it's crazy, I started making music or being an artist back in 2005 or 6. Things were so different back then. You could release a track. We didn't have Spotify. We didn't have those stuff back then. And when you release the track, you put it online somewhere, and people would download it or whatever, and it was so easy to promote it. But nowadays it's super easy to make music and release it and everything. And only on Spotify, I think there's like thousands of tracks being released a day. So it's all about persistence in my mind. You have to be ready that your first projects or whatnot might not be as successful as you wish or as you hoped for. And that might break some artists. Some artists might be like, it's not worth it for like 200-300 streams or something like that. But it's really persistence. So I remember when I kind of took a break from music. It was a few years between 2011 and 15, I think it was. And then I came back, and I remembered how hard it was to actually catch people's interest again. So, you released an album, you did your promotion stuff, and it wasn't the same effect as it was before. Because, nowadays, social media is really just a promotional tool. And people are, I assume, I know I am, when I see someone promoting something, I'm just like, whatever. I just scroll past it or whatnot. Sometimes, if you catch my attention, it has to be like something really obscure and weird, or it has to be some weird visuals to it. So I think in today's world, if you want to release something, you have to have visuals ready. You have to have everything ready and make those visuals really interesting. Especially if you want to catch the attention of the TikTok audience or whatnot. So you have to have like a 10-minute clip of something really weird, or something 10 seconds clip of something weird. And so, I think first and foremost, it's just persistence.
Awesome. I think if we can get a radio drop, just if you want to introduce yourself and Daybreak Star Radio Network and download the app. It's free, available on all platforms. However you like to word it.
Yeah. You want me to do it in Sámi or English or?
Both. We can get one of both. That'd be great.
Both. That'd be awesome.
Sure. Let's see. So this is SlinCraze. You are listening to Daybreak Star Radio Network, and free and available on all platforms to download the app. Take a listen. Does that work?
Works, yeah.
And then we can do one on Sámi too.
That's awesome.
Dale SlinCraze ja don kuuldele Daybreak Star Radio Network ja dan äppa, då saatte laste kuulud just gosaalidet lufta kuulda.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We can stop recording, and then I'll give you some tour spots if you want to. If you have a pen and paper.
No, I have like a few people that want to take me on a sightseeing trip today. My
great.
DJ was playing
with me.
Yeah, my DJ was playing with me. He's from Seattle, so we're gonna meet up soon and probably hit some touristy spots and yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if you were here by alone, so I wanted to make sure you were covered.
No, I mean the guy who is DJing for me tonight. I met him in Norway a few years back, and he's produced a few songs for me. So it was just like really coincidence that he is from Seattle. So when I was asked to play here, I just gave him a call and asked if he would be down to DJ for me and everything. So he's a local from here. So that's kind of
Awesome.
cool.
So you're covered.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for speaking with us. Really appreciate it.
It's an honor to be invited to join your show. So, and we'll see each other tonight, I guess.
You'll see me at least.
Yeah. All right.
Well, thank you so much. We won't keep you. Go enjoy your day in Seattle and see you tonight.
Yeah. Have a nice one.